Welcome into the Frogs Today football pregame show, live from the Moncrief Club here at the Amon G. Carter Stadium. I'm your host, Jules Conte, joined by TCU's athletic director, Jeremiah Donati. Today's episode is sponsored by Richard's Rainwater. Sip the sky. The Frogs improved their record to 4-3 and 2-2 in conference play after a road victory against Utah last weekend with a final score of 13-7. Up next, the Frogs face the 5-2 Texas Tech Red Raiders with a home kickoff of 2:30. But first, how important do you think that this road victory was against Utah last weekend?
Uh, Huge. Back against the wall for both teams, really. And what an environment! I mean, oh my gosh, it was family weekend there. It was loud. It was late. Great, unbelievable atmosphere there, and I just couldn't be more proud of the way the guys responded. I mean, we played, and in some respects, maybe our best game of the year. I know we didn't score as many points as we wanted to, but just a complete team victory. And even though we showed up at 7:00 in the morning when we got home, it was worth it. Just a great win.
So the Frogs have put themselves in a position where they need to win out to have a possibility of playing in the Big 12 Championship game later on at the end of this season. Sonny Dykes had said at the beginning of this season that he believes it's going to come down to these last 2 weeks to determine who gets into this Big 12 championship game. And Brett Yomar continues to emphasize that the Big 12 isn't just the most competitive conference for football, but for all athletics in general. What do you think about all of this and being able to win out and go to that Big 12 championship game?
Well, one game at a time. And I'm going to give you a little coach speak, but today's game is the game of the year, and for them and for us, because if either were to lose, you probably find yourself on the outside looking in. So it's a must-win today, and then we'll worry about Baylor, then we'll worry about Oklahoma State. But you're not wrong. Just with our record at 4-3, it'll feel really good. Hopefully to get to 5-3, and then move on and on. So we're not thinking about being 9-3 right now. But no, just the simple math of it. It's a very deep conference. Anyone can beat anyone. So I would suspect that there's. I don't think the teams that get to Arlington will be undefeated, and they may even have more than one loss. So we just gotta win today and gotta play well today. And if we do that, then we'll see where it takes us.
Continuing with the talk about the Big 12 being one of the most competitive conference in all athletics, our women's soccer team just won the Big 12 championship last night. How huge is that for our school?
Unbelievable performance last night. And, they've had this great mindset of just taking one game at a time, kind of like I just mentioned. And so, they got to an early lead yesterday, and I was watching it while I was here at Schulmeyer Live and watching the men and women and 2 Chainz, of course, which was fantastic. But just so happy for them, proud of them. They were picked third preseason, and so that was a little locker room billboard, or excuse me, little material for the women to really take a little chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
So they knew they were better than what they were predicted rather, and so fun to see it all come together. And just they're on a roll. They're hot.
Definitely went out and proved themselves last night. An incredible win. We talked to Sonny Dykes in his State of the Frog Coaches show this week about how TCU is currently projected to play in the Pop-Tart Bowl against Notre Dame. Have you heard anything about that? And do you think the goal is bigger than that?
Well, it's going to vacillate week to week, just, depending on if you're winning or losing. Obviously, if you were to play a team like Notre Dame and a big brand like that, would be awesome for our team and for our fan base. And so I'm not looking too far ahead. I mean, I think obviously, we want to. One of our goals is to play in the postseason every year, and so any bowl game to some degree is a nice achievement, victory, reward, if you will, for the guys. But yeah, we've got our sights, and we want to win all the rest of the games. And so maybe that takes you higher than the Pop-Tart Bowl. Well, that'll be for someone else to worry about. But we're just worried and focused about today in Texas Tech.
This week actually has been Big 12 homecoming. Yeah. TCU's been hosting it. Big 12 has actually been hosting it through TCU. What does that mean to TCU, though, to be a part of that?
Oh, just, the Big 12 and Brett Yormark have done a great job elevating and amplifying, I'm stealing his words, the conference overall. And so that the Big 12 homecoming roadshow came to Fort Worth and to TCU this week. And it's been great. The women's empowerment panel yesterday, and the work we've done with Como, and we're about to go out to the tailgate here shortly to check that out. And it's just awesome. I mean, Brett's really sprinkled his magic across the league, and this is just one of those elements and components that it's pretty cool feature. And so it's been fun to host it this week.
Well, thank you for coming on. It's always such a pleasure to be able to talk to you before we kick off. But when we come back, we also get to speak to men's basketball head coach Jamie Dixon. But until then, the Frogs kick off at 2:30.
What do you see when you look up at the clouds? At Richard's Rainwater, we see the greatest source of pure, delicious water looking right back down at us. We've invented a simple, powerful technology to collect and bottle rainwater. Our process begins with the rain. When clouds become saturated, droplets fall from the sky. Rainfall is a naturally cleansing event. During the first few minutes, the raindrops clean the atmosphere and wash away any dirt or debris from surface areas. At this cleanest point in the rain cycle, we collect the pure raindrops into large storage vessels. Then, we use a simple, yet effective combination of ozone and microfiltration to ensure our rainwater surpasses the highest drinking water standards. We pour the pure, refreshing rainwater into glass bottles and aluminum cans, packaging as infinitely renewable as the water itself. Richard's Rainwater is building a network of collection systems across the country to ensure our rainwater is local everywhere. The purest, best-tasting water comes from the sky. Richard's Rainwater, sip the sky.
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
Welcome to the Squire Shop.
We are locally owned and operated since 1994.
We specialize in the finest men's clothing that the market has to offer at affordable prices with unbelievable service.
We do custom clothing all the way to more casual, Peter Millar, Johnny O, kind of everything. Well, my dad's the owner, so I've been around retail my whole life. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's the best boss I'll ever have. I know that.
We love our TCU community. They have been so good to us. Come see us today. Go Frogs!
Welcome back to the Frogs Today football pregame show. We're going to hear from TCU's men's basketball head coach Jamie Dixon in just a few, but for now, TCU had its best defensive effort of the season last week against an FBS opponent, Utah, holding them to only 267 yards. Last time we spoke a few weeks ago when the Frogs were home against Houston, we talked about how the Frogs are struggling to get off the field on the third down. However, they held the Utes for only 2 of 15 on third down conversions and 0 for 2 on fourth downs. The challenge for the Frogs now is keeping this momentum pushing forward in games moving on for the rest of this season. And we heard from linebacker Devin Deal after last week's game about just that.
I mean, just how we got to it. What did we work in practice? We really emphasized the foundation, fundamentals, and just being hyped for our brothers, making the plays. Knew we had to bring our own energy. I mean, in a hostile environment, the environment was awesome and everything like that. So really just building on the fact that, like, if everybody does their 111s, we're dangerous. I mean, we got more talent than I've probably had on any other team. So for sure.
The Frogs' defense was on fire last week. They had 4 recorded sacks, which is now tied for a season best. Devin Deal himself recording 2 of those sacks. The last time we recorded 4 sacks was in our home opening game of the season against Stanford, which was a 34-27 win. On top of that, Lamarian James and Nnamdi Obiizor tied for a TCU lead with 6 tackles. Caleb L. Arms-Orr recorded his first sack as a Horned Frog and second in his career. Bud Clark had his first interception of the season and 8th in his career. He is now this was on a 4th down pass with 6 minutes and 58 seconds left to play in the game. On special teams, Shad Banks Jr. had TCU's first blocked punt of the season. This was the first one since Trent Battles against Nicholls State last year. This is now TCU's 4th block kick of the season, which is tying for a national lead. The Horned Frogs are facing the Horned Frogs are facing the Texas Tech Red Raiders today with a kickoff of 2:30, and we are ready to see our defense continue to play just as strong as they did last week. For now, we're going to hear a few words from our sponsors and then go into offensive expectations.
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
What do you see when you look up at the clouds? At Richards Rainwater, we see the greatest source of pure, delicious water looking right back down at us. We've invented a simple, powerful technology to collect and bottle rainwater. Our process begins with the rain. When clouds become saturated, droplets fall from the sky. Rainfall is a naturally cleansing event. During the first few minutes, the raindrops clean the atmosphere and wash away any dirt or debris from surface areas. At this cleanest point in the rain cycle, we collect the pure raindrops into large storage vessels. Then, we use a simple, yet effective combination of ozone and microfiltration to ensure our rainwater surpasses the highest drinking water standards. We pour the pure, refreshing rainwater into glass bottles and aluminum cans, packaging as infinitely renewable as the water itself. Richards Rainwater is building a network of collection systems across the country to ensure our rainwater is local everywhere. The purest, best-tasting water comes from the sky. Richards Rainwater, sip the sky.
Welcome to the Squire Shop.
We are locally owned and operated since 1994.
We specialize in the finest men's clothing that the market has to offer at affordable prices with unbelievable service.
We do custom clothing all the way to more casual, Peter Millar, Johnny O, kind of everything. Well, my dad's the owner, so I've been around retail my whole life. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's the best boss I'll ever have. I know that.
We love our TCU community. They have been so good to us. Come see us today. Go Frogs!
On offense, TCU scored for the 401st consecutive game. This is the second longest streak in NCAA history. The Frogs have not been shut out since 1991. And although the team has faced a little bit of adversity, they are showing that their flexibility and their way that they are moving players around is how they are coming out on top. We saw this last weekend as Savion Williams was thrown in as running back. We have a clip from that. These direct snaps to Savion Williams put him as the lead in TCU rushing and receiving yards for a career high, 72 yards with 7 carries, adding 5 receptions for another 27 yards. Head coach Sonny Dykes said in our State of the Frogs coaches show this week that they tried it early on in the game. It worked, so they stuck with it. Josh Hoover threw for 263 yards and had a 1-yard touchdown run. This is his 3rd of the season and 5th of the career. J.P. Richardson had 3 receptions for 53 yards, giving him at least 1 catch in 34 consecutive games, tying for the 7th longest streak in nation. Trent Battles was back after an injury that had him out for the past 5 games this season. He had 8 rushing attempts, 45 yards, 2 receptions, and 19 yards. Eric McAllister led the team with a best of 57 yards on 2 receptions. Kyle Lennerman, true freshman, made field goals from both 23 yards and 28 yards. The Frogs are about to face the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who are 5-2 this season. We're excited to see our Horned Frogs stay in action and beat this team. After a few words from our sponsors, we're going to throw it to Frogs Today student reporter Mallory James Mahoney, who has her own offensive and defensive expectations for today's game.
the upcoming showdown between TCU and Texas Tech. So this game carries more weight than it's getting credit for on the national stage. With both teams fighting to stay relevant in the Big 12 race, the stakes are high. The winner gets to keep their conference hopes alive, while the loser risks fading into obscurity, left to aim for a mid-tier bowl game. For TCU, the key to success lies in establishing the run game. The Horned Frogs are unbeaten this season when they rush for over 100 yards, and a strong ground attack will open up opportunities for deep shots downfield. This strategy could pay off handsomely against Texas Tech's pass defense that ranks among the worst in the country. On the other side of the ball, Texas Tech's offense has been prone to turnovers, which TCU's defense must capitalize on if they hope to control the game's momentum. Turnovers could very well determine the outcome of this matchup. Both teams have potent offenses capable of lighting up the scoreboard, so it may come down to which defense can make crucial stops or force a key turnover. Expect a high-scoring affair, with the team that wins the turnover battle likely emerging victorious. Ultimately, TCU has the edge in this contest and could secure a win by a narrow margin. Expect a close game, but the Horned Frogs seem poised to come out on top. I'm Mallory James Mahoney. Go Frogs!
What do you see when you look up at the clouds? At Richard's Rainwater, we see the greatest source of pure, delicious water looking right back down at us. We've invented a simple, powerful technology to collect and bottle rainwater. Our process begins with the rain. When clouds become saturated, droplets fall from the sky. Rainfall is a naturally cleansing event. During the first few minutes, the raindrops clean the atmosphere and wash away any dirt or debris from surface areas. At this cleanest point in the rain cycle, we collect the pure raindrops into large storage vessels. Then, we use a simple, yet effective combination of ozone and microfiltration to ensure our rainwater surpasses the highest drinking water standards. We pour the pure, refreshing rainwater into glass bottles and aluminum cans, packaging as infinitely renewable as the water itself. Richard's Rainwater is building a network of collection systems across the country to ensure our rainwater is local everywhere. The purest, best-tasting water comes from the sky. Richard's Rainwater, sip the sky.
Welcome to the Squire Shop.
We are locally owned and operated since 1994.
We specialize in the finest men's clothing that the market has to offer at affordable prices with unbelievable service.
We do custom clothing all the way to more casual, Peter Millar, Johnny O, kind of everything. Well, my dad's the owner, so I've been around retail my whole life. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's the best boss I'll ever have. I know that.
We love our TCU community. They have been so good to us. Come see us today. Go Frogs!
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
Earlier with Athletic Director Jeremiah Donati, this week is Big 12 homecoming. The festivities began on Thursday when the Big 12 and the CFP Foundation's Extra Yard for Teachers program partnered with the Leadership Academy at Como Elementary School. Then on Friday, the All-State BU Women's Empowerment Tour spoke on well-being and mental health for young women. Today, we wrap it up with the Big 12 tailgate to conclude the weekend right outside of our stadium here. We heard from Frogs Today student reporter Mallory James Mahoney, who's out in the field talking to some people about the homecoming.
Hey there, Frog fans. I'm Mallory James Mahoney, and in case you guys haven't heard, it is homecoming week here at TCU, and we have had festivities going on all week long. I can say it's been so much fun. I've got to participate on stuff on campus, but it's definitely all leading up to today. Right here in Frog Alley, we have a bunch going on for our afternoon game, so let's go check it out. As you can see, we have a bunch of amazing vendors here behind me on Frog Alley. We have Evan Williams Bourbon, Kendra Scott Jewelry, and toll tags, which I can just say is definitely my personal favorite accessory on my car for traveling around TCU. They even have a purple TCU toll tag. We also have some rock and live music right here on Frog Alley from the band Haywire. And here at TCU, we love to offer great food, and I don't think you can get much more Texas food than barbecue and Mexican. So we have delicious barbecue from Rudy's and some great Tex-Mex from Mi Cocina. And to pass your time while you're waiting for kickoff, you can play some cornhole out here with your family. As you can see behind me, they're setting up the tailgates for the 2:30 kickoff here today, and can I just say, nobody tailgates like we do here at TCU. There has been so much fun stuff. It's a great homecoming day, and I hope it's going to be a great game. Go Frogs!
We're lucky to have a collective that's as strong and as powerful as the Flying T Club. It's a big deal for us. It is a game changer. You know, I would just encourage any fans out there to support it. Everyone asks me, what's the biggest priority? And I say, NIL is big. Please jump on board, show these student athletes how much they mean to you. The thing about NIL is I think there's a right and a wrong way to do it, and the Flying T Club's do it the right way. Let's keep winning. Join the Flying T Club today.
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
What do you see when you look up at the clouds? At Richard's Rainwater, we see the greatest source of pure, delicious water looking right back down at us. We've invented a simple, powerful technology to collect and bottle rainwater. Our process begins with the rain. When clouds become saturated, droplets fall from the sky. Rainfall is a naturally cleansing event. During the first few minutes, the raindrops clean the atmosphere and wash away any dirt or debris from surface areas. At this cleanest point in the rain cycle, we collect the pure raindrops into large storage vessels. Then, we use a simple, yet effective combination of ozone and microfiltration to ensure our rainwater surpasses the highest drinking water standards. We pour the pure, refreshing rainwater into glass bottles and aluminum cans, packaging as infinitely renewable as the water itself. Richard's Rainwater is building a network of collection systems across the country to ensure our rainwater is local everywhere. The purest, best-tasting water comes from the sky. Richard's Rainwater, sip the sky.
We are joined here by TCU men's basketball head coach Jamie Dixon. So, Coach, every season, this is kind of how TCU, or not just TCU, but college athletics work, but every team is a new team every season. So what does this team look like?
Well, we've got one returning guy as far as it played last year, and then we've got two guys that redshirted, so they do have a year of practicing with us. But otherwise, it's all new players, 10 new guys as far as scholarship players. So kind of getting used to that. I mean, obviously, I've been doing this a long time. It was about developing guys, getting them better over 4 or 5 years in your program. But games change. We've adapted, and we've had good success with the transfers. We've got a good group, new guards, which we dealt with last year, and that's always a challenge. You'd like to have returning guards has usually been, but we've got two good ones. They played a lot of minutes. One played at Arizona State, high level, Pac-12, and then the other kids from Wisconsin, Green Bay. So they're the most experienced guys. They're the guys we're kind of counting on for some leadership and been in that role before. I think we brought in some other guys that have played a lot of minutes at different places. The forwards are deep. I think we've got 5 of them battling for really an equal battle as we go through it. And then Ernest and the 2 freshman big guys. So we are young. There's no question. We're not ranked in the top 25. We're just outside of it because we're so young. Yeah. Because we have, I think, 2% of our scoring back. So that's fine. It's where we are. We need to improve. We have improved this week, and we got a big one coming up against Arkansas November 1st, which is our first exhibition game, which is a charity game with Cook's Children, and that's our charity. And Arkansas is using their charity as the Fayetteville Children's Hospital in Arkansas. So that's the one they're doing.
I was going to talk to you a little bit about that. So it's being hosted at Dickies Arena here. Right. As you said, it's for Cook's Children. What are you guys doing to get prepared for something like that? It's such a big game. It's an honor to be able
Yeah.
to represent a charity like that. So
Yeah, no, it's a new thing for us. They've kind of had it in a couple of years, and you kind of, but it's going to become a little bit more regular, I think. Certainly for us, it's kind of the next step in our program. Convincing administration this is the thing we need to do. Getting to play a really good team, Arkansas highly ranked. So we're trying to play the best teams we can in these events and get us started for the Big 12. And so it's good. We've got we have a scrimmage. I think we're better. We're much improved from that scrimmage. And I think, hopefully we'll be healthy and we'll have all of our guys. I know they played Kansas last night and won. Yeah. So, again, those are scrimmages. I guess both teams were missing a few players. So, we're it's early. No less of an indicator than an exhibition game in November, October. But still something we're shooting for, and then a starting point, and then let's get it better from there.
You guys were just in Kansas City for your media day. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what goes on behind the scenes at a Big 12 media day?
Well, it's it's kind of I find like media day is kind of old hat now. It's just with social media and back when it was newspapers and that was the first time you'd see them. But the stories have all been written. I think we all just got to see everybody play because everybody's got these new teams, new players, 16 teams. Certainly we do it up in Kansas City, so there's another home court advantage for the Kansas and Kansas State teams and Iowa State for that matter. So, it's really for them, I think, rather than for us. But, we know where we're picked, and we're picked in the middle of the pack. In our league, you got to know, there's going to be probably 10 top 25 teams of our 16. But we will beat each other up, and by the end of it, we won't have 10 top 25 teams. Yeah. And that's the challenge within a league this good. But, would you rather be in the best league or the third or fourth, league in the country? The JV league is we're in the best, and we're playing against the best, and we got to be at our best.
You guys kicked off your season last night, actually, at Schollmeyer Live, where 2 Chainz performed. Now, I want you to be honest with me, Coach. You guys did a promo video with women's basketball head coach Mark Campbell. How many takes did that take you guys to get it down?
I think it was one, but we had cheat sheets. They had little things that I think my daughter told me that she could see the sheet or see me looking at the sheet. So I think that's the one where we were doing a few lines and different things.
Yeah.
So,
your daughter's got to keep you humble.
Yeah, no, that's what she does. All right. But I think she knows it, but it was fun. It was short notice. We had to get to practice, and I think they had just finished practice. So the important stuff had to be attended to.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite 2 Chainz song? Is that your music genre?
As some of our players were saying, they hadn't listened to that since middle school or something. So they're looking at me, and I'm like, no, I don't want to seem older than I am. But it was fun. It was a good event. I think people were excited about it. We had another concert over in the Blue in the Commons there, and then it kind of led into that one. So we had a little country, then we had a little 2 Chainz. So students could go to both. So we have variety here at TCU.
Now I want to go back on something that you were speaking about earlier about how competitive the Big 12 is. And the Big 12 is known as being the best conference in college basketball. We've been talking about, I was just mentioning earlier with Athletic Director Jeremiah Donati about how Brett Yomar has been emphasizing the fact that the Big 12 may be the most competitive for all athletics. So Sonny Dykes also mentioned earlier that he believes that as well. And they've kind of put themselves in a position where they need to win out the rest of the season to have a shot at the Big 12 championship game. So coach to coach, head coach to head coach, what do you think is running through head coach Sonny Dykes' mind right now, preparing for a big game like today against Texas Tech?
Well, I think after the road win at Utah, which, I mean, granted they didn't have their quarterback, but a road win at Utah, altitude, the history they have there, their coaching, their staff. I mean, to come out with a road win from there, I think they can win any game. They just proved that. No one thought they were going to win. They weren't the favorite. So going forward here, anything is possible. And they're a new team like everybody is. Who's to win a league, and that's what I think Coach Dykes is talking about too. So going forward here, they've got to win every home game, and then you got to find a way to sneak on the road when they go on the road here these last two. So, hey, I'd love to be the team that's coming off a road win at Utah. No one else has done that.
As a coach who may have ended up in a position like this before, where you know that these next few games are critical to pull out a win, how would you be motivating your guys right now going into these games?
Well, I mean, you want to build off the win. I think certainly Coach has done that. I was with them earlier. I guess it was last night. We did a little event over there at the Commons. So, I think as we talked about, I think there hasn't anybody that's really separated themselves in the Big 12. So you go into it thinking who's playing the best at the end of the year, and that's how he's looking at it too. And like I said, the road win is huge to build off confidence. Finding a way, and let's go play, get our fans behind us in this one, and go out and obviously take care of the football. Is what I can't believe I'm talking strategy on football here. I don't know how you talked me into this, Jules, but trying to act like I know what I'm talking about. But you keep pushing it, so I'll just play along.
Thank you so much for coming on and joining me today. It was an honor to be able to talk to you. I'm really excited for your guys' season. Good luck. It's coming up very soon. But for now, we're going to hear a few words from our sponsors and then come back and wrap up the end of the show.
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
What do you see when you look up at the clouds? At Richard's Rainwater, we see the greatest source of pure, delicious water looking right back down at us. We've invented a simple, powerful technology to collect and bottle rainwater. Our process begins with the rain. When clouds become saturated, droplets fall from the sky. Rainfall is a naturally cleansing event. During the first few minutes, the raindrops clean the atmosphere and wash away any dirt or debris from surface areas. At this cleanest point in the rain cycle, we collect the pure raindrops into large storage vessels. Then, we use a simple, yet effective combination of ozone and microfiltration to ensure our rainwater surpasses the highest drinking water standards. We pour the pure, refreshing rainwater into glass bottles and aluminum cans, packaging as infinitely renewable as the water itself. Richard's Rainwater is building a network of collection systems across the country to ensure our rainwater is local everywhere. The purest, best-tasting water comes from the sky. Richard's Rainwater, sip the sky.
Welcome to the Squire Shop.
We are locally owned and operated since 1994.
We specialize in the finest men's clothing that the market has to offer at affordable prices with unbelievable service.
We do custom clothing all the way to more casual, Peter Millar, Johnny O, kind of everything. Well, my dad's the owner, so I've been around retail my whole life. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's the best boss I'll ever have. I know that.
We love our TCU community. They have been so good to us. Come see us today. Go Frogs!
Thank you again to men's basketball head coach Jamie Dixon for joining us today. Once again, there's a charity game on November 1st at Dickies Arena for Cook's Children. If you are around town and you want to go and support the Frogs, it's for a great cause. Thank you again to Athletic Director Jeremiah Donati for joining us again every week here at the Frogs Today pregame show for football. Today is a huge game for the TCU Horned Frogs. This win would switch their spots with Texas Tech as far as the Big 12 rankings go. But for now, tune in at the end of the game for our Frogs Today post-game show. And on our social media platforms, Instagram and X, both Frogs Today, we will have a halftime report by Frogs Today student reporter Mallory James Mahoney. Until then, we also have our State of the Frog Coaches show that airs every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and then our Frogs Today show that airs every Friday morning at 10 a.m. We're going to be here after the game, but for now, it's a 2:30 kickoff against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Go Frogs!